Oh, and out.
It's got bigger. So that I can get down for another few minutes. Second. The Grand Forks County Commission meeting will begin. Good afternoon. The first thing on our agenda is the Pledge of Allegiance. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. You'll note for the record that all of the commissioners are here and welcome to newly elected commissioners.
Thank you.
So welcome. All right, the first item on our agenda is the oath of office for the newly elected commissioners.
Maybe
What over here?
if you just want to stand in
Okay.
place or sit in place, that should be fine. And put both of you together at the same time, if you're comfortable with that. I state your name
I, Terry
Cynthia
Peach,
Peach
of Grand Forks County, North Dakota.
of Grand Forks County, North Dakota.
Do solemnly swear
do
Do
solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of North Dakota,
and the Constitution of the State of North Dakota.
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of the office of the Grand Forks County Commission
Oh, and I will faithfully discharge the duties of the Grand Forks County Commission.
Miss County,
according to the best of my ability, so help me God.
according to the best of my ability, so help me God.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Okay. Moving on in the agenda, the next thing is the election of the chairman and vice chairman. Commissioner Ross.
The history has always been, with the county commission for the 46 years I've been with Grand Forks County, that, everybody just kind of moves up, and so I guess at this time, I would like to nominate you as chairman for the 24-25 county commission chair.
Okay, is there a second to that motion? Again, is there a second to that motion? Okay, if there is no second to that motion, the motion died.
I'll make a motion to nominate Kimberly Hagan for chair of the Grand Forks County Commission.
Okay, there is a motion to nominate Kimberly Hagan for the chair of the Grand Forks County Commission. Is there a second to that motion?
Second.
Okay, it has been moved and seconded. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
I,
Opposed, same sign.
No.
Okay, motion is carried. Then Kimberly, you are the new chair of the commission.
Oh boy.
And so we'll have to move places. Okay. All right. And the next thing is the vice chair of the commission. Does someone want to make a motion?
I'll move Mr. Rusted to the vice chair.
Okay, it has been moved and seconded. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion is carried. Commissioner Rusted, you will now be the vice chair of the commission. Okay, you go ahead. Oh, man.
So can I have the new commissioners sign their oath?
Oh.
Have someone to notarize?
Yes, yes. Absolutely. All right. Thank you for the information.
You're good? Okay.
So we'll move on to the approval of the minutes. If everybody's had time to review them, I'll entertain a motion.
So moved. Second.
All those in favor?
I,
Aye.
Motion passes. All right, and the approval of order of agenda.
Madam Chair, I would move approval of the order of the agenda.
Okay, motion, Cindy, is there a second?
second.
Second by Carrie. All those in favor?
I,
Motion passes. Approval of the consent agenda. Bills, employee status changes, overtime, county deed, bond for check reissue, and a game of chance permit. Anybody need anything added or? we can help?
The only thing I have a concern of on the game of chance, the permit. Is that something that you need to approve, Andy, or not?
I reviewed it, but it wasn't
No
right.
problem? Okay,
So we're good.
yeah, I make a motion to approve.
Motion by Mr. Ross,
I'll second.
second by Mr. Rusted. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. All right, clerk of district court, Allison. Robbins.
Good afternoon. It's on? No, it's not connected. You gotta talk loud.
it's fake.
You come talk into my.
We give you a pretend mic.
Well, good afternoon, Madam Chair and Commissioners. My name is Allison Broughton. I'm the clerk of district court in Grand Forks County. I'm here today with Kelly Hutton, our court administrator, and presiding Judge Hager would like to be here, but he's currently in a court session right now. We're here today to discuss our application for this year's court facilities improvement grant. The grant is provided under North Dakota Century Code 2705.2-10, and it's titled Application for Grants from Court Facilities Improvement and Maintenance Fund. The grant is provided, the grant is to provide funding to improve or maintain court facilities. And for the grant to be considered and awarded, the county must agree to provide local funding for the project of at least or equal to 25% of the total cost. We are extremely fortunate to have a beautiful courthouse here in Grand Forks, and we continue to look for ways to enhance the public's experience while utilizing it. We have used this grant in the past for a more secure front entry and more secure clerk of court's office. So upon creating the secure entrance and the clerk's office, we were able to consolidate. We used to have two clerk offices, we consolidated into one. And so this allowed us to create a flexible meeting space on the first floor that was used primarily for jurors to assemble. Now, during the pandemic, we had to reconfigure that space and we utilized it as a flexible courtroom, and it had flexible seating. To make the courtroom, we used an old bench from a previous courtroom that was located on the second floor. That courtroom no longer exists. The space was provided to the state's attorney's office. So with the bench, tables for witnesses, tables for judicial staff, and council tables, we pieced together furniture that we have in the basement and throughout other spaces in the courthouse. So the collection of all of these pieces provided the necessary furniture we needed to create a courtroom. But we had to use plastic chairs, folding chairs that we purchased to use for gallery seating, as no public seating was available to be refurbished. In 2023, the Northeast Central Judicial District, which Grand Forks County is located in, was provided an additional judgeship to bring our total to 6 judges. With the addition of the 6th judge, we will continue to use this room as both a courtroom and a flexible meeting space. As an example for the multi-use purpose, we've used it for National Adoption Day, for the presentation. The room holds trainings for court staff, other judicial partners such as the Sheriff's Department. The local bar association holds their meetings there. And we've done legislative orientation when new bienniums commence. Through feedback from judges, court staff, attorneys, and the public during jury service, we provide questionnaires. The comments that we get back are about the lack of professionalism that the space shows, as well as the discomfort of the chairs. They indicate that the chairs, you can't sit in them for more than an hour because they're very uncomfortable and they cause issues with hips and backs. The current intent of this courtroom is for it to be utilized as a primary courtroom for jury trials. It's located on the first floor. There is easy access for potential jurors. They don't have to go up and down stairs, and it's located right next to the security desk. We are focusing on this feedback from the public and the judges, and we're looking to add comfort and professionalism to this space while balancing out costs. So this grant, we are requesting 60 chairs that are of a higher quality in both comfort and professionalism than what we currently have with the black plastic folding chairs. The chairs would be provided by a local business, Norby's, and they have sufficient cushioning, adjustable armchairs, and flexible back so that they move with the individual as they shift. The cost for 60 chairs is $19,500, and the cost to the county in the amount of 25% per the Century Code would be $4,785. We are asking that the funds come from the capital improvements for 2025 that have already been allocated towards grants. We respectfully request your consideration of the approval of this grant to better serve members of the public, other county organizations, and judicial partners, as well as legislatures. We're happy to answer any questions that you may have, and thank you for your time and consideration on this.
Comments?
Just one question. When you got that grant from Norby's, was that bid out, or is that just the one company that you got a hold of?
We've just been working with Norby's.
Okay.
We've used them for several of our projects.
And I apologize if I missed this. Is there a timeline on when this must be put in?
Yes, so the application has to be postmarked back to the Supreme Court by December 31st of this year.
The quote says 12/14. Under quotation, valid to 12/14. On this here. Here it says the quote's only valid at 12/14.
Oh, Norby's will give us until the
Okay.
31st. Yeah.
Okay.
They do that just for their.
Yeah.
Programming.
My only comment would be the same as Mr. Ross is there a reason why we have, I know you've used them in the past for many other furnishings, but is there a reason why we haven't gone to any other organizations to get quotes?
I can answer that.
Okay, Kelly Hatton, I'm the court administrator. We looked online for several similar options, and Norby's did give us a cheaper than what we could purchase it from a surplus. Okay, or from a warehouse. So it was a cheaper option, and then just trying to keep some of it local.
I have a question either for Ms. Nelson or Ms. Wamstead. What by law, you have laws about bidding, not bidding, single source quotes, etc. Is it below this? It's not. I mean, I have a lot of questions, so it means you go a little longer, but I know that you're supposed to have quotes. I mean, multiple bids, but there's usually a cutoff in amount. So if you could elaborate.
Certainly. Thank you, Commissioner Bearkey, members of the board. This wouldn't be something of purchase that would require a public bidding. It wouldn't be the type of material or meet the dollar amount threshold for a public bidding. It might be best practice to get a number of quotes, but it sounds like maybe court admin has explored those options. So it would be up to the court and the board if you wish to pursue that.
Okay, thank you.
Do you need a motion to have the chair sign this? Yes, yeah.
I'll approval.
Motion by Mr. Beatty,
A second.
seconded by Arrested. All those in favor?
I
Any opposed? Sorry. Do it this. All right, Mr. Black. There.
Good afternoon, Christian. Bad news and good news. Guess we're doing some bad news first, and it is just informational for today, just to make the board aware. So bridges and scour, the Federal Highway Administration has always mandated checking for scour erosion around bridges. Been something that's been done for many decades, and historically what the program would be is every 4 years we go out. There's a program how we would, and mandates how we would check for the erosion and report back to the state. Well, the state has taken it a step further and they've categorized bridges and increased inspection requirements. And it's mandated by the state, or it's mandated by the feds. State put together the program, approved by the feds, and now we have to abide by it. And so starting in 2025, we'll be doing this program where bridges are categorized into A, B, or C. A being bad, C being not so bad, and then some bridges aren't on the list at all. But we have out of 260 some bridges, we have, well, there's different lists around. In the write-up, I had 157, and then the most current list, it's 162 bridges on our list, which is by far more than any other county in the state, even though we do have more bridges than any other county in the state. But my point for bringing it up to the board is this is going to be a huge undertaking. I'm not sure exactly how we're going to even meet the requirements. To say like category A, what it means is during a flood, we'd have to go out every 24 hours and inspect the bridge. If it's category B, it's every week. Some positive news is I already know this list is outdated because some of the bridges on this list we've replaced this year, or we've done work on them, or they're in our queue to get done in the next couple of years. So I know we can whittle this bridge down, or whittle this list down, but it will change how we look at bridges a little bit and how we do projects. It might come into one of the reasons why we do a rehab or a replacement project on a bridge, or why we would recommend it because of this. Or the other option is we can do some engineering analysis, do a scholar analysis, and then do a hard armoring project, like go down and add a bunch of rock, right, or pour some concrete to protect it from erosion. If we might be doing some of those kind of projects. So Commissioner Bierke, this would be like your unfunded mandate.
Yeah.
Right? Okay.
So how do you do it during a flood? Do you boat out there or what?
Great question. I'm all ears on recommendations on how we inspect the bridge that's got water around it for 3 miles.
I think you ignore it, but
No, there are some provisions in there.
Fireboats.
Yeah,
Anti-airboats.
Yeah.
It's raining out there.
it's quite fun to do that. I don't know if I'd want to do it every day though. No, there are provisions in there. If the bridge is closed, you don't have to inspect it. So, but every single one of these 157 bridges, we have to put together a POA, a plan of action on how we are going to approach it. It's a lot of time, paperwork, staff time. I don't even know how we're going to do it, but we'll slowly pick away at it and we'll see how this interaction goes. Every county's getting hit with this all at the same time. This is all something that's popped up in the last couple of few weeks. My first question was, well, what's the penalty for non-compliance? They say, we won't give you federal aid, right? That's what they dangle
is
over
it the
there.
state that follows up on this?
Correct.
And it was the state DOT?
Yes. So that's the bad news, and it's just informational for the board. But on to some positive news. So today, we have a couple representatives from KLJ, and Mr. Wade Thompson would like to present something to the board. If Wade could come up here, and just a little introduction for Mr. Thompson. When I tell you we've had a consultant look at a bridge, I'm calling Wade. Okay, he's one guy that I really trust with our bridges. KLJ is one of their main bridge guys. He's in the Grafton office, but very close, and has served us very well, and has helped us a lot with new bridges and particularly rehabs, because I need like a certified bridge engineer to sign off on recommendations. So I'm calling him like, what if we do this or that? Is that going to work? Is that going to solve the problem? But he's a main component of our bridge program here in the county, and other projects too, but primarily bridges. So
That's tough to live up to here.
yeah.
You know, I get to take a lot of the praise here from Nick, but I also have Eric with me here. He's one of my main bridge guys. He is based out of Grand Forks here. You know, I know we do a lot of other projects with you guys too, roadway and things like that. We really do appreciate working with you guys. You're a great county to work with. Got a little token of appreciation for you guys. Just around the holidays, we like to show our gratitude for it. then the specific reason I'm here, I don't know if you guys saw, there was an article in the Herald this summer, about the Northwood Bridge, the prefab, metal bridge. That one was given a National Steel Bridge Alliance, Prize Bridge Award. It is a pretty high company, the Steel Bridge Conference. I was able to attend that one. And it is, I mean, there was pretty impressive bridges that got honorable mention. So we just wanted to make this plaque for you guys. This is for you guys to keep and display wherever you would like. This is basically, pictures from the magazine that it was published in. So yeah, just kind of a little write-up in there. They call it the Elite Eight. There was 4 primary awards and then 4 honorable mentions. And the Northwood Bridge did get the primary award for short span. So yeah, I just wanted to give this to you guys. You know, it's really nice when commissions are willing to try new things, and they really recognize the uniqueness of this project and trying to get bridges built in the frigid winter demand. So
Thank you.
yeah, this is for you guys to decide where you want to hang it.
I'll bring it.
So yeah, I really appreciate everything. You guys, I was working with you guys and yeah, look forward to continuing that relationship.
Thank you, Richard. Yeah.
That's all I have. Anything else?
Nothing else? Are you sure?
Okay. Yeah. Well, there's some things we talked about. I don't know if we're quite ready to bring
Not
it
yet.
to a board yet,
Next time.
so, yeah.
Sure. The fun.
Yeah.
All right, county administrator.
Fill in for Tom. Chair Hagan and commissioners. So, I believe we mentioned, or you're aware of, that we had legislative priorities every session. As a county to talk about priorities, so often that is Tom or myself going down to the legislature or commissioners when they're so interested. I know that I believe Nick spends a lot of time out at the legislature, and I know Sheriff Schneider and thanks very well, also will do some advocacy on behalf of the county. And so, this list was put together, it's, you know, kind of build on each year a little bit. So none of this should be too new, but we went through kind of each department area to look at priorities. And there's a group of, Ms. Nelson, Ms. Swanstead, and Commissioner Hagan, Commissioner-elect, but now Commissioner Bierke attended as he's very interested in the legislative aspect of things. Mr. West joined to review and approve the document that you see before you with a few small edits. So to run through it real quickly, under administration, we have unmanned aircraft systems. And you just see that strike through on there because it didn't get struck through in the document that was submitted to you all, and I apologize for that oversight. But essentially Grand Forks County, supporting our partners in Grand Sky, and they're asked the legislature every session for dollars to help with infrastructure and such on Grand Sky, as that is the county's project. The next part of that, or underneath that, is CVIC, and there are some representatives from CVIC here today. We followed up with them, which is why you see the strike through after our small group meeting, after the small committee meeting, to ask some questions that Commissioner Bierke had raised and others about what we're advocating for on behalf of them as our partners. And so what we came away with was a hope that we could make it a little bit more broad, because the thing that they are advocating for fall under a few different categories, not just under the Department of Health and Human Services, as was listed in that first paragraph. And so it became a little broader. The red line item has been approved by all of those who were on that subcommittee for the legislative session. And so I don't know if either of you want to speak at all to what CVIC and your goals are during the session, or if there are questions for CVIC at this point.
Well, I just have one question on that, on this issue, and I don't know which for them or Mrs. Wamstead, Ms. Wamstead, or both. We talked at the meeting about, gotta make sure I get my alphabet right, that's a DOCR, is that, okay? My concern is that if, obviously I'm trying to cut costs here. So if we can get that grant from the state to replace the local money, then therefore we would have less money to spend as a county on this, if we could do that. So I just, I don't know how you're gonna do it and how you want to word it or how it goes about. I support the CVIC and their ask for the money. But I also would like to try and get this so that if we can get for that specific grant for that, I think it's what victim witnesses. For serve whatever it is, you can, you know, all the word, but I'd like to see us try and replace, because it's one of, my pet peeve is unfunded mandates, and it's just one of many that I'm gonna try and go after. And I've already started talking to my legislators about the unfunded mandates. If we could, if the state says they're gonna do it, then the state should do it. Because they've got $25 billion, so they can go through their couch cushions and come up with 350,000, whatever it is. So I just like to make sure that as we go through this, that we also make an effort to replace our money as opposed to just getting other money. So I don't know where you're at on that.
Commissioner Bierke, members of the commission, I think I understand, kind of what you're saying and getting it. And I lean on CVIC to correct me if I'm wrong at all, but my understanding is there's a few avenues where funding could be appropriated, one through Health and Human Services, one avenue through the DOCR, the Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation. If they are allocated those funds, it sounds like it would be on a grant basis. And time would tell the provisions of each grant. In the past, I think because of our contracted services with CVIC, they have been the agency that has went through the grant documentation and that whole process. But I think if it made more sense for the county to directly, I would have no objection to that as well. And I'm sure CVIC would probably agree. I don't want to speak for you.
Could we do both? Could they advocate for it? And could we as a county put in for that, for a grant? The DOCR one?
I can answer that.
Okay, Thank you.
Tracy Leduc, I'm the Chief Financial Officer with CVIC. Yes, we not for the same service, like you couldn't apply for victim witness and we couldn't apply for victim witness, but we do have a VOCA grant for many other services that we provide. Victim witness is just one of those, but we both could apply. We have had a conversation about that in the past, where I think the first year the county might get a little larger amount because it's a competitive and they put priority on new applicants. Thereafter, I think you probably would, I'm guessing the county would get about the same of what we're getting now towards victim witness services, which is the 107,750.
Okay, so the point being, if we got that,
Mhm.
we still don't give this other money, we're still gonna reduce what the taxpayers are paying. That's what I'm looking. So for what it's worth for me, I'd like to see us apply as a county for that one grant. And they could do all the rest if that's.
So we are allocating a portion of that VOCA grant to you already in the contracted amount. So total cost to run the program is about 500,000. And we take that 107 that we got for VOCA right off the top of that.
And that's in your packet, Commissioner Bierke.
Okay, yeah,
It's outlined in detail.
okay, and so would that then reduce what we owe you? What we normally give you in a year, or we're still gonna pay the same amount?
Yeah, so for example, to run the program is about 500,000. So it's gonna vary from year to year what we get from the state, for victim witness services, but it's reduced. So it's like the 500,000 to run the program, less 107 for the VOCA grant. We also applied for a Stop VAWA grant that we're passing along another 21,000 in savings to the county. So every dollar that we get in grants goes, directly to reduce that contract. There are some non-federal dollar match requirements on both the VOCA and the VAWA grants that we're kicking in with victim witness fees and covering that, as well as some in-kind office space that has reduced the cost of the
Okay, well, I'll go through this.
contract. Okay,
I'll be meeting with you in the future.
sounds great.
So, but you're gonna hear a familiar thing for the next 4 years.
Yeah,
I'm going after the unfunded mandate.
yeah,
So, thank you. Thank you.
yeah.
And apologies, I should have introduced, so Ms. Koya Tompkins Inman, she's CEO, President of CVIC, for those of you who have that, but I think everyone has, and then Ms. Tracy Leduc, and CFO. And can I just add one more thing? The bigger issue, Commissioner Bierke, is that entire fund and how it's sourced. It's been plummeting since 2017. It's just happened to get real here lately. But the bigger issue is how that is sourced. And it's sourced with litigation. from court cases. And that's a federal issue, which we also tried to run up the flagpole about a year ago. And were met with a lot of platitudes about how grateful the congressmen were for our work. But the bigger issue is how that is sourced. And it continues to get lower and lower. And a few
The Fed
states have,
source does.
I'm sorry,
The Fed source.
the federal source. And a few states have stepped up to say, we're going to help fill that gap, North Dakota being one of them. They do have a proposal for the legislature to consider that. But the bigger issue from my perspective is the amount of victims that are, you know, not getting what they're needed, because that fund is just not, it needs to be completely overhauled, in my humble opinion. And that is something we would like to talk to Fedorchak about now that she's there. And she does at least know who we are. But that was another, I just offer that to you because it's not something we just sat back and said, you know, this is a county issue. We really did try to run that up the federal flagpole as well.
Thank you.
Yeah, my understanding of the sourcing of the funds for these type of organizations is that it comes from basically white collar crimes that are committed, like your Bernie Madoff types. And many of those weren't being prosecuted during the COVID years, meaning that pot of money was still getting, you know, so to speak, drank from, but not refilled. Is that an accurate assessment, or am I way off?
No, you're not way off. And in fact, COVID got an extra layer of pain point on it. But it's been a disaster since 2017. If you go into that website, you can, it'll pull up a trajectory of the last, 20 years. And since 2017, the diagram's gone down. It's just happened to get more painful of late because it's been, and North Dakota gets a measly, 5 million of this. So for 19 programs, that's not a lot of money.
Thank you.
Apologies on my so. The rest of the document is going to be exactly what was submitted in packets. The legacy fund, as Commissioner Bierke alluded to, asking the state of North Dakota to allocate the dollars that they have towards counties and local government subdivisions. The next page you'll see military family quality of life. Those are just some policy advocacy things that we've been working with other partners on, and that have actually been recommended to us by some federal partners who, work with certain states to identify what in those states could change in order to make quality of life better for military families, which is something very important to our community. The highway department, which Nick can touch on if you would like, it's very similar to all of the other years, Prairie Dog infrastructure funding. Thank you, North Dakota Infrastructure Revolving Loan Fund, but then as well as adding that US Highway 2 County 5 intersection improvements and advocating for a solution there and for dollars there. And then under the tax equalization office, that was shortened this year under property values, given all the conversations surrounding property taxes. The committee thought that it'd be smart to shorten it, make it sweet, and make it more in line with what we are seeing at the state level, which is Grand Forks County supports property tax reform and relief, very broad, but also direct. And then under the water board, the River Valley Water Supply Project, and supporting that moving forward. Well, and that is the whole of it. Are there any questions?
Shocking, I have questions. Number one, we had mentioned this and I didn't see this in there. Are we gonna make an attempt under, what do you call that, what do you guys call that?
Human service zones.
No, whatever they're called, zone.
Human service zones.
Okay, under that, apparently we pay a significant amount of money for indirect costs. Are we going to lobby to have the state pick up? They all like to say they pay the full cost, which they don't. They say, well, the media's here. They don't. So are we gonna, I think as a county, we should go after that and ask the state to pay for the indirect costs. Because frankly, for example, heating the building where people work in is not really an indirect cost. So I think the county should go after that and just say, I won't wordsmith it, somebody else can, but we want them to pay the whole thing. They said they are, so why don't they do it?
I concur.
So I'd like to add that and Ms. Wamstead or whoever wants to word it. But I think we, as a county, we should lobby that all indirect costs to the county. Well, and we should make it for all 53 counties, because then hopefully there's 53 people who want to see that pass. Pay for those, and so the county no longer has to pay for, they call it indirect cost, it's clearly direct cost. They're just wordsmithing it, they're doing a word salad, not to pay the whole bill. So that'd be my motion, to have that language added to this document.
Put in the motion, all right.
I'll second the motion. I agree.
Right.
I think it. If you're gonna go to the media and brag about how you're taking over that cost, well, then take over all of it, not the portion.
And I can't see any of the 53 counties not going along with something like that.
Start the numbers.
Right.
Yeah.
Do we have a first and a second?
He's
Or a
second.
second, okay, all right, all those in favor? Opposed?
Okay, I got more questions.
Okay, continue.
Okay, next one is on the, when we get ready to vote, I would like to vote on the Grand Sky separately than the rest of them. So if we could split that. Madam Chair, if you could let us vote on the Grand Sky first and then vote on the rest of them in a block. And the reason why is, although I support Grand Sky, I don't understand why the state of North Dakota, which then becomes Grand Forks County, why we're paying for Department of Defense projects. I pay for Department of Defense projects. I pay income tax. It's a federal issue. If they want this, and they call right here, Department of Defense Test and Resource Management. So their name of it, you know. So why are we paying for a national security issue at the local level?
Sir, if I may.
Yeah.
So those dollars, anything allocated from the state is always used for, the specific infrastructure of the land of Grand Sky. It is not ever used to build something for a private entity or for the Department of Defense. So it's your roads, your culverts, your underground systems, or also now they're pursuing a taxiway, which is something that they would want to pursue regardless of the tenant, and it's something that then the tenants would be able to use in the same sense of its being infrastructure as roads and bridges, if that helps clarify.
Well, then I'll clarify with this. So then we're gonna pay to develop property for someone. Am I wrong? And I don't like that. Cause I pay for my property. And so, okay, right, yes,
Granted, Grand Sky is neighboring the base, but the Grand Sky, the extended use lease, that's with Grand Forks County. And Grand Forks County then subcontracts with Grand Sky to be able to offer the tenants for the unmanned aerial systems to come in and to develop. So we're asking for state and possibly federal dollars at times, but usually it's state dollars to continue to develop the Grand Sky Park that is, we're the landlords.
okay. And so it's just me, personal pet peeve, which I have many. So I'm not gonna vote for it because I don't, once again, I'm paying for all these unfunded mandates and those tenants are working under contracts with the federal government, the Department of Defense. So so I'm not gonna belabor the point. I just asked if we could vote on it separately. And then I'll vote and I'll lose, but I've done it a lot before. And then I'll vote the rest of them on a block. I support all the rest of them. So that's where I'm at.
So do we want to do Grand Sky first?
If we could, please.
Perfect. Entertain a motion to approve the Grand Sky for legislative priorities in 2025.
So moved. I'll second.
And first and second, all those in favor?
I,
Opposed?
Aye.
Mr. Dickey, the motion passes. All right, the rest of our priorities in this document
I'll
If there's
move
any discussion.
approval.
Second, sorry. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right.
Chairman Hagan,
Yes,
can I ask a clarification?
absolutely.
Would you like for that, the Northeast Human Services part or the unfunded mandate aspect for some language to be drafted and then brought before the commission for the 17th, the December 17th meeting for final approval?
Outstanding.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We will do that.
Could be easy language, just pay for the rest of it.
I'll quote.
Quote it. All right.
This one said you know you can do it today.
I have nothing, thank you.
Right. Committee reports. Cindy, do you have anything?
No, I have nothing to report at this time.
Very good. I had a Northeast Human Services Board meeting. Lots of good information. There's a really great 5 slides overview of what Northeast Human Services has been doing this year. And I'd like to send it to everybody so everyone's on the same page to see the great work that they've been doing. Other than that, that's all I got. Mark?
I had a sick little boy, so unfortunately I missed my last MPO meeting. So we will be dropping Hurricane Beerkey on them. So that they can board up their windows and doors.
Buses bypass and pedestrians.
All right. All right. What do you got?
Okay, we had our meeting this morning at the Grand Forks County Correctional Center and Youth Assessment Center on construction. And things are moving right along out there, so it's a timeline and everything seems to be going really well. And I've got paperwork for Ms. Leon, so that I brought from the meeting, but it's going really good.
Mhm. Anything to add, Mr. Repeat?
Certainly, I do. First of all, next meeting, we assign the portfolios, is that correct?
Normally it's before, yeah.
That's what I read.
it's Before
Okay.
that.
Now, does the Fair Board have a meeting before the 17th?
I'm not sure.
I'll look when I get
Probably
home.
So are you going?
I highly doubt it. See church school, Dave.
Okay, if you don't go, call me. Okay, for those who don't know, the Fair Board is asking for a 200% increase in rent for River City Speedway.
Right.
It's not gonna get pretty very quickly, as far as I'm concerned, so you let me know if you don't go, because I will. That to me is unacceptable.
Yeah.
Well, I'll let the rest of it go, because I'll give a chance to see if they change that, but so I want to go if you're not gonna go, Mr. I will represent you.
Okay.
Okay,
That could be your portfolio.
I'm pretty sure it's gonna be. So, I'll go there and say hi. All right, I just want to make some general comments. I think for those who don't know me, they probably know about me. I have a lot of ideas. I am either arrogant enough or stupid enough to realize that they're all gonna work. At the same time, I hope no one in the county, whether it be elected or unelected, as an employee, believes that everything is perfect. So we're gonna meet in the middle. I will treat everyone with respect. I am very much blunt but fair. I'm gonna tell you what I believe. And if you're an elected official or an employee, just tell it right back to me. I don't care. My skin's so thick, it makes everybody a little jealous. I don't get offended. I'm Joe Friday, we're dragging, just the facts, man. I'm all about numbers. So I just want to be ahead of time. I'm not, so to speak, gunning for anybody, but just let's be open. I grind my sausage in public. You've probably heard about it in politics. I love open meeting, open record laws. I am not going to be doing stuff, in my opinion, illegal or at best unethical. So I'm going to talk a lot up here. The public's going to know what's going on. The employees are going to know what's going to go on, and you're going to know what's going on. I'm not a fan of going behind people's back. So it's going to be out in the open. And like I said, I got a lot of things up. We'll see what happens. But I think the reaction I got from the people I talked to, which was a lot, they're not happy. So we're going to have to, and I would encourage the department heads and the and the managers and the employees. I'm confident you have ideas to save money. And bring it. Let's go. One team, one fight. And just in closing, to give you an example, for those who think I won't spend any money, when I was on the council, at the time, we were debating, should the police department go to all SUVs versus some still had cars? Especially the taller guys hated the cars because of all the stuff they were. It was hard to get in and out. Wasn't that good in the snow. And so I brought the agenda item to spend more money to buy all SUVs. And you know why? It gave us a better police force. So if the engineers comes to me and says, if we buy this biggest, baddest known to man grader in the world, and it's going to cut down on overtime, but it costs more at the beginning, I'm going to want to buy it. I'm all about results. So that's how I am. So I just want to get that out there. And some things people are not going to like when I say. So it's not personal. I am all about policy. And if anyone who's watched me on the council saw that. So and everything what I'm going to do here for a while, could be for a long while, I'm going to bring forth ideas under this item number to be discussed in the future. When I was on the council, I never vote unless the building was on fire. I never voted for something that was brought up without me getting a chance to think about it. I do not like bringing me stuff that I haven't had time to think about and ask questions about. So I am going to bring forth things. I'm going to ask to be brought back at a future meeting for a discussion. Because I don't want to put you in that position either. I don't like that. So item number 1, and I'm not sure the chain of command here. So Ms. Lee, if it's not you, you let me know who I talk to. So the first thing I want to just have a discussion at the next meeting is I want to discuss a hiring freeze for the county for next year. And that includes any new positions in the budget that are scheduled to be hired. By hiring freeze, that doesn't mean if 12 deputies quit tomorrow, we're not going to have a shift. We're going to hire. But I want us, and I'll give you an example. If perchance we decide there are some ways to save money by eliminating positions or combining positions, instead of hiring someone from the outside to come in, if we see we're going to eliminate something in the near future, I'd rather have someone else who maybe have something change, have them have an opportunity for that job because they already work for the county, as opposed to going outside. So I like to discuss the hiring freeze. I know some ideas. Do we do it for part-time? So I am asking for my fellow commissioners and the department heads and the employees, whoever, to funnel your ideas to her. I'm going to give you my ideas. I'll send you an email. But I think we need to take a time out. Although I had a different way to take care of my boys, but that's a different story. All right. Point number 2 is I would like to discuss the county's policy from working from home. I'd like to know who's working from home, why they're working from home, who authorized the working from home, and what is our county, do we have a written county policy on how we do this? Is it department, is it the commission, is it whatever? So I want to have, if you can gather all that, and all the information you gather obviously goes to everyone on the commission. And then anyone else who wants to, as far as I'm concerned. So we gathered up, I want to have a discussion on that. I'll just tell you, on the East and West Coast, the major companies, who let's just say would probably not follow me in the voting area, are almost all of them are making all their employees go back to work. Because they are showing that the productivity is not there. And once again, this is all about productivity. So I want to have that discussion. So that's it. I'm going to limit myself to 2 per meeting for a while. It's going to be a long time, but that's where I'm at. And we need to have a discussion. We need to have it out and open and discuss. And I'm done with that. Thank you.
All right. Mr. Hood, need something on
So
that?
I put beef jerky in my mouth.
All right, we'll give you a second.
I just wanted to give a little bit of credit where credit's due. Nick West approached me about the potential impacts of a funding source that could potentially negatively impact the city. The city gave us their blessing on that, but I can't stress enough how important it is to exhaust your resources to make sure that a decision that you're going to make wouldn't negatively impact a partner, a very good one in the city. And the mayor himself is one of those that said, no, 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 go ahead. And so, I won't get into a bunch of details because it's boring as hell, but, the point remains is I appreciate the, reaching out to the commission and making sure that there wasn't gonna be a ball out.
Thank you.
Anybody else, last thought? All right, any unfinished new business, the ARPA fund allocation?
Madam Chair, members of the commission, we received almost $13.5 million in 2021 and 2022. That money has to be spent or allocated by December 31st, 2024. I have a list of all the projects that we have allocated or paid. Also, we can only spend 10 million of that on revenue replacement. We are under the 10 million, even with our balance of $185,094. But we need to allocate it, or you need to allocate those funds by the end of the year, or I have to give it back.
Do you have any ideas?
So I know that there was a $75,000 parking ramp change order, or actually it was far greater than that, but they brought it down to 75,000. So I think that could be part of where these funds could go. It's 75, right?
Should, you know.
And the balance could be other capital improvement requests for 2025. I mean, I think we probably have $110,000 in capital improvement requests for 2025 that we could use the ARPA funds for instead.
Commissioners, thank you for the opportunity to be here this evening. Yes, in regards to the parking ramp, change proposal that was presented on the table for us in our parking ramp renovation. There was electrical work identified that was not drawn into the scope of the work from the assessment and engineering. A proposal was drawn up and presented to us with a sum of $156,000. And the term I used that day from the principal and charge contractor was, in my interpretation, as well as our partner engineer that is the engineering manager on this project, 82S J. Clevin. In our interpretation, that was I don't want to do a price. $156,000. My speculative number would have been a ballpark of $60,000. Jay Clevin felt it was light. He says anticipation wise, he would see those quotes come in for that work at 75. We don't have those numbers compiled yet. Jay and I have been working on that since we tabled that $156,000 proposal here a month ago, roughly, at one of the last commission meetings. But that is one area that, in order for the ramp renovation project to get done complete and in engineer's perception properly at the completion of it, this additional work that was identified needs to get done in that. So we'd be able to use those funds for that in 2025 as that ramp project completes, but we do not have those quotes from other contractors or that scope of work dialed in with Jay Clevin's assistance yet. We're just not ready to present anything yet on that with current numbers, but anticipation wise, we don't think we'd see that going past 75,000 on that scope instead of 156 as identified from RSI. In other aspects of capital improvements in work within the buildings, there are things on that 5-year and 10-year plan that we could easily identify if we were looking at identifying work to be done. bunch of 6th floor carpeting outside of the commons area here, not so much on the conference room sides, but throughout juvenile court and veteran services. We have a lot of 25-year-old carpeting that is waffling and coming undone. It's old broadwood carpeting that would eat up a good portion of the rest of that money, and that's been on the capital improvements list for a few years. That we've just pushed back as we've run short on funding each year for some of those things. So if that was made available to look towards spending that on the ramp, as well as potentially 1 or 2 other projects, it could easily be earmarked quite quickly.
Anybody have any comments on how you'd like to spend the money?
Madam Chair. I know during the funding process that we had earlier this summer, there was quite a bit of IT software issues that kind of have taken the back seat. And so I can't speak for them specifically, but I know that software programs, some of them are aged and we need to upgrade some of those. So I can't speak for Ms. Halverson, but that's something I think we need to consider.
Madam Chair, members of the commission, I think maybe what we should do is hold off until the next meeting and tell me exactly what projects you want to do with this money.
And I would.
Because that'd be part of the motion.
Yeah.
That would be made at the next meeting.
Chair. If I could just add, just to be mindful of when you're thinking about projects to allocate these funds for, federal requirements, require us to follow certain procurement laws federally that we don't always need to follow when utilizing our own funds. So like, I don't know how far along the parking ramp issue is, but, we just want to make sure that we're early enough in the procurement of whatever it is we designate that we can be sure to follow those federal requirements in the procurement process.
So I will put it on the agenda for the next meeting.
Okay, I have a question under, is software considered capital improvements or is that separate?
No, we could include that there.
Okay, because if you, the more general you made it, that if something didn't qualify, you just go to the next one on the list. So, okay, all right, thank you.
Anything else, Debbie?
I do not.
Any correspondence? I know, I think that, but we still have the, do you need a motion or anything for the, those votes? For any reason? No. All right, well, since my motions are no longer allowed here, someone has to take my job if anybody wants to.
How about your assistant? I move adjournment.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Sorry.